In today's video, we're going to talk about the real possibilities that both Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp are traded this offseason and discuss some potential landing spots for these two. Let's get into today's video. Now, before we hop into these trade discussions, I want to give a little bit of just a conversation as to where I've been over the last week. If you're not interested in that, you're like, let me just fucking see the Myles Garrett Cooper Kupp trade talk. Timestamps are always in the description. But for those who are curious, here's what happened. After the conference championship games, I said, let me let these reaction videos breathe a little, get into the algorithm, maybe get a couple views. Not making a video for 2 days. The plan was on Wednesday to make a video talking about the Buffalo Bills and, do I think they need to fire McDermott, yada, yada. And I, fully intend on addressing that at some point, probably in the offseason at this point. Then I got sick, bedridden. It just wasn't really great. My throat, it was hurting. The voice was in and out. And I thought, let me just put it on ice. It's Pro Bowl week. Let people take the week off. I don't really need to force content out there on if Sean McDermott should be the coach of the Bills next year. We have plenty of time to talk about that. But during Super Bowl week, I need to be sure that I'm back to 100% making content. It worked out, so I stick by the plan. Now, let us progress forward to these trade talks. And we have to start, of course, with Myles Garrett, who requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns. And it's because this is one of the less clear-cut of the situations. So Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns, basically was asked a couple weeks ago, will you be entertaining trades for Myles Garrett? And he just flat out said no. But we also know that Myles Garrett made it a point known that if he did not believe in the Browns' plan for a future and did not believe in the Browns being a winning organization in the short term, he wanted to leave. And apparently, whatever plan he got, he wasn't a fan of. He does not believe in the Browns as a winning organization going forward. So he requests a trade. And he didn't demand a trade. This isn't some really, really terrible relationship from my understanding, but the guy would rather not be in Cleveland come next season. But with a request of a trade like that, the team not really wanting to move off of him, he's certainly a jersey seller. This guy certainly, moves the needle on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to take multiple first-round picks and then some, whether that's additional players, additional draft capital, whatever it may be to land you Myles Garrett. The pool of teams that are interested in Garrett may be a small one. Let's just, I saw some people saying the Ravens. The Browns are not trading Myles Garrett to the Ravens. The Ravens could offer the entire franchise. I mean, listen, if they offered Lamar Jackson, sure, but they could offer a competitive offer. They will not trade him in division. So that's not happening. So Ravens fans, I do apologize there. When I start to look around the league, it's like, if I'm going to trade all that draft capital for Myles Garrett, I need to be sure I'm going to be a contender with him. That being said, you got to look at some of the contenders right now. Buffalo, a huge target, I think, for whether it's Garrett or Crosby this offseason. When you look at where some of Buffalo's downfalls were, they didn't fully have an elite pass rush. They relied on a lot of production from a Von Miller coming in on third down as a specialist. Whereas a Myles Garrett or a potential Max Crosby could become the best player on any defense, but especially Buffalo's, and present a real problem for opposing teams, and could very well be the needle mover that pushes them over Kansas City. You look at KC's game versus Houston, Patrick Mahomes didn't have a very particularly good game because of that pass rush of Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. Versus Buffalo, he seemed a little bit more comfortable in the pocket, making throws. If you have a game wrecker like Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, that perhaps does not happen. As well, Detroit, man. Detroit Lions fans are hammering down on the fact that their team needs a pass rusher, needs an elite pass rusher. The playoff game that they lost to Jaden Daniels, 0 sacks, low pressure rate. The defense couldn't do anything. Jaden was comfortable. And don't get me wrong, that was a beat up Detroit defense. So I'm not just, fully blaming things there, but you got to pair somebody alongside Aiden Hutchinson, and it's a Myles Garrett. And all of a sudden you go from losing a playoff game because you have absolutely zero pass rush to perhaps the best pass rush duo in football. You want to talk about maintaining your status as a contender after losing your OC and your DC and a ton of guys on that staff? Having the most talented roster in football is certainly a way to do so. And Detroit's already up there, but you add Myles Garrett, and now they're cooking with some fire. Those are the two teams that I really would expect to be aggressively pursuing Garrett at this point in time. Now, I do think there are some teams that are at least going to send out some offers. The Miami Dolphins, they are committed to winning in this organization. They drafted Chop Robinson. One of their big problems is not having a pass rush. I still don't fully believe in the Miami Dolphins, but they're a team that is certainly in need of a pass rusher, and Myles Garrett, you could argue, is the number one pass rusher in the NFL. TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, it's all in that conversation. That's a team that should make a push for a Myles Garrett. The Washington Commanders, a lot of money to spend. Very much so moving in the pathway of a winning organization, was just in an NFC championship. They could get it done. The Arizona Cardinals, I know that one sounds crazy, but again, a lot of money, can afford to continue to pay Myles Garrett. A lot of draft capital, a very young defense, a defensive-minded head coach in Jonathan Gannon. And if you're the Browns, where do you want to send Myles Garrett? Probably to the NFC, as far away from playing you as he can be. The Arizona Cardinals fit that bill. And of course, I'm sure we'll get some surprise notifications of, after the Super Bowl, the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Niners are somehow all interested in Myles Garrett, because that's what, high-level front offices do. They check in on, hey, can we pull this off? And I don't put anything past those three organizations, so sure, I guess they're in the running. But for me, on the Myles Garrett front, I think it's very much a Bills-Lions race. But I wouldn't be shocked if Dolphins, Commanders, Packers even maybe, and Cardinals were some of the teams reaching out to Cleveland with some decent offers. Now, Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp, he went to Instagram and he basically announced like, hey, the Rams have informed me they'll be seeking a trade for me. And we heard a little bit of this at the trade deadline. No move was made. It felt like, yep, they're going to wait until the off season, and then that's where this trade is going to get done. And so now we are pretty much of the assumption that this Cooper Kupp deal is going to get done this offseason. Now, the market for Kupp, I think, is a lot bigger than the market for Garrett, just because I think a lot more teams can afford the price of Cooper Kupp. Here's the deal. Cooper Kupp's not going to cost a lot, maybe a third, fourth, fifth round draft pick. The thing with Kupp is you're taking on, what is it, 22 million in dead cap. So that's like the money that will count against you. Looks like here's cap hit is 29 for next year, 27 for the year after that. There's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot of finagling around these contracts. It looks like you're basically on hold for $22 million to Cooper Kupp. And we saw Stephon Diggs get traded last offseason, and he had multiple years left on his deal, and Houston just kind of reworked the deal with him to have 1 year left, and then he could test free agency. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw something similar with Cooper Kupp here, and I honestly wouldn't be shocked if the team he went to was the Houston Texans. Stephon Diggs is a free agent. Tank Dell's hurt. They just brought in the guy from the Rams to be their offensive coordinator. So there's a connection there. The team desperately needs a slot wide receiver. It's a winning spot. I think I could easily see Cooper Kupp to the Texans. I think I could also easily see Cooper Kupp to the Lions. I heard that the Lions are interested in Cooper Kupp. They don't have a true slot wide. I mean, they have Amon-Ra. You know, some people say he's a true slot guy. I view him as a little bit more of a Z. You know, with Brad Holmes' relationship, he was in the building when they drafted Kupp. They'll certainly check in on him. You know, I do think a team like Philly is going to be interested in. They were rumored at the deadline. They're not paying guys on their defense yet. So they do have a little bit of money to expend. It is expected that Darius Slay will leave. You kind of just move that money from Slay to Kupp for one season. They really don't have a true slot wide receiver. You know, obviously Kupp has taken a little bit of a step off the last couple years. He's not the Triple Crown winner from 2021. He's not the Super Bowl MVP, but he's still a high level player with a very high IQ play on the field. You know, the connection him and Stafford have, can that be replicated with another QB? I'm not so sure, but can you get 70 to 80% of the production that the Rams were getting from him? Yeah, it just comes with the $20 million price tag. But I also think that, you know, the door is open for a team that's drafting a quarterback like the Titans or the Giants to try and bring in a Cooper Kupp just to try and make things easier for their guy. Could the Patriots be in the same boat? Let's get Drake May a weapon. Could the Chargers be like, hey, let's get another guy for Herbert? Probably not, because of McConkey's just kind of already playing that Cooper Kupp role. But the Titans, if they're drafting Cam Ward, the Giants, if they're drafting Shedeur Sanders, you know, the Panthers, hey, let's get Bryce Young some more pieces. I could also see just kind of teams in that spot also being interested in Cooper Kupp. This is what I mean where I say it's different from Myles Garrett. I just don't see a world where the Panthers are like, let's go all in on Myles Garrett because we're ready to compete right now. I just, you know, you can't buy that if you are an NFL fan. But could I buy pretty much any team trading for a Cooper Kupp? Yeah, the Chargers, because they already have McConkey already in the slot. I feel like they'd rather go for more of an X wide receiver, whether that's, you know, a T Higgins in free agency or somebody else. That more so fits their bill. But for Kupp, it's anywhere from Eagles, Commanders, you know, Lions, Bills, all the way down to Panthers, Raiders, Giants, Titans. All of these teams could be interested in a Cooper Kupp. I'm just really interested to see how this contract shakes out for Cooper, if the team brings him in and doesn't change anything, or if they do, you know, a la Texans Stephon Diggs style and reduce it to 1 year. That's probably where I would be at if I was a contender. But, you know, if you're a team like the Titans or Giants bringing him in, yeah, like we'll take you for 2 years. We'll have you around and really let you help develop the young rookie quarterback we have as, you know, a safety blanket. I could see that certainly working out for either of these teams. Super Bowl coverage will be coming to the channel. Obviously, you know, I might have a tier list video in store talking about the last couple Super Bowls dropping tomorrow. And then, of course, the predictions will be out Thursday. I appreciate your guys' support. I'm going to go drink a little bit more of this G-Fit Gatorade. These things are pretty solid. I'm not going to lie. Rest the voice a little bit more. I could feel it acting up a little bit. Let me know where you think Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp end up getting traded. I appreciate your guys' support. I'll catch you next time. Peace.